I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen for Monday, August 5th to order. Thank you very much for those of you who are here for being patient with us. We had an important executive session before this evening's meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there any public comment this evening? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the first Selectmen's report. I'll be very brief, but I want to acknowledge and thank our staff. Jen Charneski, our finance director, and her staff, and of course Kate as well. We have again received the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for our year-end 2018 comprehensive annual financial report. So that's great work, and as I said in some comments earlier today, it gives our taxpayers great confidence that we are very diligent about our record keeping. So congratulations, Kate, and to your staff. That's it for me.
Just have to say, I no longer really have anything to do with it. It's Jen.
Well, that's very nice. I know that you have general oversight then.
The only thing I want to say tonight is we've had a couple of communications recently that indicate to me that some members of the public might think that our blight officer actually drives around town looking for blight. That is not in fact the case. So if you see blight or something that you think is blight, you can report it online. Under the How Do I section, we now have the option for you to click on Report Blight, and it'll take you to the Blight Board's webpage, and you can either go to Q Alert, you can email the blight officer, but we don't drive around town looking for it. And if a property was reported as blight in the past, we may have determined that it was not blight, or the blight may have been cured to the town's satisfaction. That doesn't mean it doesn't fall back into blight, but we, like I said, we don't go out and continue to check on these properties once they've been cleared. We won't know about them unless somebody reports it to us again. So just want to make sure that that's clear.
Good.
And that's it. David wants a fast meeting, so keep
Okay.
it short.
We will try. Okay, so under new business, discuss possible changes to the false alarm ordinance. I just want to give a little preamble to this. A couple of us have been trying to work with the volunteer fire departments on the issue of too much noise from the audible horns. It's been an issue since I became first selectman, and we've had a couple of what I think are decent meetings. But one thing that came to light in our last meeting that I knew that we had some control over are the fines for false alarms. There seems to be a fair number of false alarms and a number of significant repeat offenders. So I think we might be able to make some good change if we readjust our fee schedule.
I would even say that a little different, if I may.
Please.
High proportion of alarms are false alarms,
Yes,
which is unnecessary noise.
that's correct. That's correct. Yep.
So I asked the fire marshal for a report on that, and I at the same time actually asked the police for a report on their false alarms too, because they don't have the noise issue or the noise complaints, but I think there is also an issue with repeat offenders with the police false alarms. Regarding the fire false alarms, 55.4% are false alarms in fiscal 19.
Police.
No, that's the fire.
Fire, sorry.
I don't have that statistic on the police, but there's a number of offenders. 70 of the calls were at repeat addresses for a total of 191 of the total false alarms.
Wait, say that
I
again.
think it's worded wrong. I think there was 70 repeats for a total of 191 false alarms.
So there were 191 calls, but only 70
right.
addresses.
So some of the addresses had only 2 false alarms, up to 8 false alarms at one address. So
Okay.
it is, so I think, you know, what you're thinking of is not just raising the fee, but possibly increasing it as, you know, second,
it's a
third.
A sliding scale,
Right.
yep.
Yeah.
So, Kate, you provided us here with a table from the Code of Ordinances
Right,
for
and the-
fines.
The highlighted ones are the false, the false alarm.
Okay.
Um,
So right now, we just charge $100 per false alarm.
Correct.
Right? Do we have limitations by statute on what we can charge?
I'll have to find that out for you.
Okay,
Well, you've got $1,000 civil penalty for collections falling separate recycling garage. I mean, you have higher numbers on the next page.
That is, yeah, that's a different kind of,
I know it's a different offense.
right.
but the
Typi-
state may
yeah.
have limited us on the false alarms.
Okay.
Typically, there's something, we'll have to look in statute, but I certainly would favor, what I don't know either, another question to be answered is, does someone get a warning first, or is a first violation a $100 penalty?
I don't think that there's a warning. I know you can appeal it,
Okay?
but I don't know how generous our hearing officer is.
Well, that, one of my questions was, I know in the past, I think it's the quarterly reports where we've always seen a percentage of uncollected fines.
Right.
So it would logically stand that if we increase the fines, well, most likely we would probably have a harder time even collecting. So I think if we were to increase, I think we have to come up with a better system to collect them, because I don't want it to just say, okay, we're going to increase them and then we have a bigger pool of money sitting here waiting to be collected. So I don't know how we do that, but I think we need to think about, if we're raising them, then let's just not make it a problem to have them collected, because obviously people are not going to be too pleased about that. But
And what's our collection procedure now?
I don't believe they do anything other than bill. I don't believe the fire marshal sends them out for collection, but that may be an opportunity.
Is there a way to sort of levy it against a beach pass, or, you know what I mean, to
Or
restrict
property
some
taxes.
sort of?
property taxes,
Could it be
yeah.
billed along with property taxes?
Because not
And-
everybody gets a beach
Along with
pass,
property
yeah.
taxes might be difficult, but definitely things like, we've done it with the parking permits.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll look and see what else we can leverage
Okay.
against.
Yeah.
It's really a simpler question, I think, is, do we have a bunch of fines outstanding?
I seem to remember that it was a number that I would always look at as far as when we had those reports.
Usually after a year, if I want to remember correctly, the collection rate after a year was up in the high 80s, low 90s. As I remember, I'm just, off the top of my head. From the report, we get once every quarter.
Yeah.
But in a particular year, you may be behind, maybe only in the 70s collection rate.
We can get that data
Yeah.
for our next meeting.
I'm not sure it's a big problem.
Collecting.
Yeah.
Collections? Well,
I mean, I don't think it should be I think we should try, if we're gonna do something positive to try and eliminate the alarms, let's just, the calls, then let's do something positive on the other side too, is my only point. Yeah.
I would say by increasing the fines and maybe enhancing our collection system, we would
Yeah.
be increasing our revenue. So we would want to have a conversation about the utilization of the revenue, I think, should become part of this discussion.
Well, it's in your code. It says what it should be used for. It says under section 511, to be used to improve fire services, or section 512, to be used to improve police services.
Very, very broad, right?
Yes, it is very
Yeah,
broad.
very broad.
The fire commission has sole discretion over how to spend the fire alarm money, and the police commission over the
Right.
police false alarm money.
Yeah,
Also, you have to remember what really brought this, what Jamie was talking about. I mean, we're trying to decrease the noise that the fire horns create, and, right, we're trying to make life for citizens.
it's a quality of living
Yeah.
issue, a negative quality of living issue for some. for many. And interestingly, during the sidewalk sales, I had an individual approach me who was concerned about the town discriminating against people that lived in the downtown corridor, that they were the ones subject to the repeated noise from the fire horn. So I appreciate the fire department's potential willingness to work with us to reduce the noise. We are not looking to compromise in any way our volunteer fire response. Safety and security is the #1 priority.
Agreed.
And we're just hoping to find a compromise that improves the quality of living, but keeps a solid system for emergency response. So I'd like to consider a graduated fee schedule for repeated alarms.
Yeah, and even possibly a higher one for just the first, because the impression I got from them is they felt that people were not overly concerned about the false alarm. That the fine was no longer a deterrent
Okay,
that it had once been.
okay. So I think it'll be critical to understand what, if any, limitations or not
Yep.
are in statute,
Yep.
and then really think about what else we could maybe tie it to for non-payment of fines.
I mean, I would love to tie it to, some more public education around this,
You mean the revenue?
Yes.
Okay. And they did say that they would be, the fire department said that they would be willing to assist in public education.
Because I think that's part of this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody wants to have multiple false alarms going on in their homes.
Yeah, but I think to Kate's point, some people,
Yes, it's not.
It's not a deterrent.
it's not a deterrent, so we have to look at that, the cost of the first
Well,
fine.
I agree we need to work on this. I mean, we don't have full-time professional firemen staying in a firehouse waiting for an alarm. Right? When an alarm goes off, somebody has to leave their home, they have to leave their employment, they have to go to the firehouse.
Mhm.
It's a big disruption.
We got a lot of expensive equipment turning around the town, and for repeat offenders, I mean, that's just really not right.
I would agree with you, and this board and the Board of Finance and the RTM have supported significant investments in technology to be able to communicate to those volunteers in a variety of different forms so that they get the message to get to the firehouse. So it's a part of the system.
If there are any other questions that you guys think of, shoot me an email. And I'll
Okay.
get working on those.
Thank you very much. Anything else on this topic? All right, this will come back to us then.
Yep.
All right, next issue of business is we wanted to review our goals and objectives, which will then be a foundation for us creating a community value statement. I have to say that I think we've done a pretty good job with our mission statement and our goals and objectives. I have a couple of suggested changes, additions, but I'd like to hear from you first. Mark?
I also reviewed it, I don't have a lot of changes, but I
Okay.
did, in desperation, Google value statement, municipal value statements.
Yeah.
And I found a very interesting chart, and I didn't make a copy for everybody, but you can take 30 seconds with that chart and figure out where the values fit.
Okay,
Now,
Why don't we get
that's
everyone-
one view.
great. We'll make sure that we scan this and send that to everybody.
That's a City of Dover, New Hampshire
Thank you. Yeah,
website.
okay. So, do you have some notes, Pam? Great, perfect.
I love that we have in there to acquire property for open space and future town needs. I think we may need to articulate that out further. I feel like that term, open space, has been sort of misused
Okay,
in regards to Highland Farms development, in regards to what that means
okay.
to the town and to the
That's
people of this town.
Good point. It means different things to different people.
Okay.
And I think we need to be more transparent about that, because I actually think those things mean the same. The open space and future town needs, we need to figure out how to say that in in a clearer way that the town needs in regards to requiring public space for the town's benefit, for the citizens of the town,
Okay.
you know. But open space is just constantly, when I hear it out in town, when we hear it in public comment, means different things to different people. And I think it needs a lot more clarity.
Okay. Yep.
Can I keep going?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I also, so we've got in here to protect environmental and historic resources, which is great. I do think at this juncture, we should have more of a sustainability statement now that we're looking to become a sustainable CT town.
Mm-hmm.
I think incorporating that into our mission statement, into the town's goals, should be really front and center. Even with I think it should be in here very clearly that, you know, for all of our new building initiatives, that we have some focus on green initiatives, and I clearly not fully net zero, although hopefully to get to that goal, that type of building. I think the town over the last 2 years has done an amazing job of really moving in that direction and making, you know, huge strides. And it should be celebrated and continued forward by whoever sits in these chairs. And then my only other comment over here was the support of public-private partnerships. And certainly that, I think it's great. Like, I think about the Darien Athletic Foundation, I think of Darien's Trust, all these sort of areas where we've been accepting grants and opening up to help, you know, sort of build the town, build the community. And then at the same time, when we're talking about these private partnerships and we're approached by, you know, one of the clubs to host their racket courts, you know, their things like that. They're sort of a push-pull with that. So I just wonder if we want to be a little clearer about what that means to us. Are we talking about foundations? Are we really talking about private partnerships? Because I think there is some resistance on this board right now, or at least for me, to create those truly private. I'm open to foundation partnerships and grants, but that sort of struck me just since the conversation we had.
I think, you know, in my experience, when we have referred to public-private partnerships in the town, it's more of the private helping the town than the town helping the private.
Correct.
Right.
So I think
Yep.
So maybe we should
you're
clarify
absolutely
that.
right, clarify
Yeah,
that.
I think that's a great point.
So we could easily add some language, and we can think about this, where we would keep what we have, support public-private partnerships for public benefit.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like your idea of making a more meaningful sustainability statement, and I want to think about that a little bit more. I had originally made the same note here about sustainable CT, but while I hope that we receive that designation, and I hope that we can continue to achieve that going forward, that's a program. It isn't like a core value, so I want to figure out how we can
Yes.
separate it from.
I agree that, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would use sustainable CT in our comments here,
Mhm.
but that should be a town goal.
Yep.
That should be a board goal.
Yes.
Whether we get that designation or not, we should be working
Yeah.
in that direction. Because, yeah, I mean, for everything else we've said in here, for protect environmental and historic resources, I mean,
Mhm.
I would separate those out and just be more, a little clearer about protect environmental resources in the sense that we are with the dredging, that we are with our, you know, that EPC is working with, you know, protecting our watersheds. That's sort of a separate issue to me, and I feel like there's still not the sustainable
Okay.
conversation in here.
Mhm.
I mean, I see the efficiency and non-carbon source projects. I think there's more. I think there's more to be said here,
Okay,
and I'm happy to help,
great.
you know, with that language. And the plastic bags.
Wait till they go after plastic diapers.
This is a little wordsmithing, but community wellness is very important priority for me, and I think for all of us. I'd like to just change the word support community wellness to prioritize community wellness.
I think that's a good idea, because I had put, I mean, it might be too specific, but something about, addiction or suicide or opioids or mental health, but that might be getting too.
Yeah. I
too
think we
into
want to
the
keep them
weeds.
broad enough
Okay.
that we can remember how in theory, these goals and objectives should be goals and objectives that our departments can
Mhm.
take and utilize when they're looking at specific
Okay.
initiatives. Mark?
We use the word support here a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if we don't use support for community wellness, well, where else are we gonna not, it's just,
Well, we're open to that.
it's it's a bit of a struggle. Maybe we need
Yeah.
a better word.
Mhm.
Might be some word that is not support and it is not prioritize, it might be.
Enhance.
And we're welcome,
Yeah.
wherever different words fit and express our intent in a better way.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I felt that in maintain and enhance town infrastructure, we should make some kind of a comment. Two different things should be incorporated here. Something about cybersecurity and something about our commuter transportation amenities. Could maybe be included in one that's already here, but I think that we should capture those concepts.
Good point.
Yeah.
I support both of those are important. Support, I prioritize.
Boost.
I was, when we, down at the bottom, and I'm not sure, well, I can't really talk about what we talked about in executive session. So I wonder, with the employee and the retention, if we also want to talk about sort of maintaining a level of diversity in town as well with our employees, and diversity retention as well. Especially in a town.
Yes, I
like
would have
Darien.
no problem.
It is always something we look for,
Yeah,
so.
I would have
But
no
I would-
problem
if we
adding
wanna
that
add
here.
that
Support
in.
employee diversity and retention strategies,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's a slippery slope.
In that same section, the second bullet, support employee benefit policies that, I'm editing to say are fiscally sustainable, with your permission.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Also, I'm not quite sure where it fits on here, but we did talk about collaborate with town boards and commissions on analyzing impacts of developments and infrastructure, and so that's important, but I'd love to add somewhere where we also collaborate with other town boards and commissions on more than just the impact. I mean,
Yep.
whether it's the RTM or the board, all the different boards and
Yep.
commissions. I think that's important somewhere, because I think we have tried to work as collaboratively as possible with anyone that's willing to work with us.
Okay. We'll work that
But
in.
I'm not sure where it should fit.
Okay.
Well, do you have something specific in mind that you want to?
Well, some of it could be financial, some of it could be, like, if you talk about consolidated services with the Board of Education, that could certainly be under the financial
yeah.
end, or also if you talk about the RTM, just,
It could be in a couple different places.
Mhm, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right, because right now it's just under town infrastructure.
Right.
yeah, and I think it needs to be.
It could be an engage and inform. It could be under that
Yeah.
section.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were generally my comments. Kip, did you have any thoughts?
No, I just avoid putting any kind of specific goal such as Connecticut, what is it, CT, Sustainable?
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you on
Yeah.
that.
And/or leads, for example.
Yeah.
We're experiencing the fact that
Mhm.
we now, all schools are required by state law to be high-performance schools in the energy and environmental area. Leads is out. And all we do by going to Leads is be paying money every year to have them certify us. So in a matter of maybe 4 or 5 years, Leads is going to disappear as a standard. because it's a moneymaker for the people who are doing leads. And so don't put down in here a specific measuring stick.
Yeah.
No,
The
no, no.
measuring stick will
Yeah.
probably disappear
Yeah.
or change.
Yeah.
No, but I think when departments are making decisions about whether it's doing more electronics, saving paper, like in a variety of
fine.
small ways, that we're talking about goals, sustainable goal, environmentally sustainable
Yeah,
goals.
I agree.
Departments in a more generic way, but with the idea that those will eventually, like a self-serving way, we could use those as measures to help us get to that status. That doesn't need to be written in here, but I'm just saying, sort of the overarching theme would be to eventually, hopefully, get to that goal.
Whatever goal it is, yep,
Yeah.
Okay.
agreed.
I think we should try and edit out some things too, maybe. For example, it's probably redundant if we have support for public-private partnerships for public benefit. Maybe we can eliminate the support private investment in town assets and infrastructure.
It's one and the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, good,
Um,
good. One less point is good.
Okay. Anything else? We can make these edits and bring it back.
That's a good start.
Okay. Everybody okay with the mission statement?
I'm okay with it.
I am too.
Yeah, I didn't have any.
So eventually we'll understand what a value statement is,
Eventually, yeah. We're gonna do this nuts and bolts first.
because I have
and
no
then-
idea what a value statement is.
I did what
We'll
Mark
get
did, I
there.
started Googling around.
We'll
but-
get there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. Now, moving on to new business item 6C, discuss and take action to increase the number of members of the Ox Ridge Building Committee. So we've had this discussion in the past. The committee is desirous to add 2 new full memberships to the Ox Ridge Elementary School Building Committee. Kip, would you like to offer any further comment on that?
We were looking at the tasks ahead of us, and while not immediate, we're going to need people who understand and are active in construction and construction management. We have Rusty Schreiner, who's been there definitely. We have, to a degree, Mike Alfieri, but we ran into 2 other people that have direct experience in construction management. This will become very important when we actually are putting shovels in the ground, and having weekly, if not bi-weekly, meetings of those people and the construction guys at the site. So these 2 people that we found, one was Nick Rongo. He's had 16 years with Turner Construction, done construction management. Now he works for CR, what is it?
CBRE?
CBR, yes, Caldwell banker Richard Ellis, and does owner's rep work and things of that nature. And then Sean Brown, who's on the Architectural Review Board for 18 years, and he's done a lot of construction work himself, although he's now in the data security market. But obviously knows how to read blueprints, knows how construction should proceed. We interviewed them both, the Board of Selectmen, and we were going to choose just one, but they both were very strong candidates. So we're strongly recommending to add these people to our committee as full-time members.
Okay. Anyone have questions for Kip about that?
No.
Okay, so we actually have 2 actions. The first one is to vote to increase the size of the Ox Ridge Elementary School Building Committee to 10 regular members. I'll entertain a motion to make that change.
So moved.
Mark, may I have a second? Susan? All those in favor? Great. Okay, and then we'll go on to the appointment of Sean Brown and Nick Rongo to the Ox Ridge Elementary School Building Committee.
Make a motion.
Susan moves. Pam seconds. All those in favor? Great.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Done deal.
Okay, moving on to our meeting minutes. Regular meeting of July 8th.
Backwards.
Any additions, corrections?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, then I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Kip, may I have a second? Susan, all those in favor? Thank you. Special meeting minutes of July 8th.
Moved. So moved.
Was that Mark?
That was great.
Okay.
But I'll
Kip,
second it.
And then, all those in favor? Thank you. And then special meeting of July 19th.
I'll move.
Susan moves. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Pam seconds. All those in favor?
Pam, were you there?
No, you weren't there, Pam. Oop, can't second.
I'm looking at
Okay.
backwards. I knew it wasn't.
I'll second.
Okay, Kip seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I guess I have to
4 of
abstain.
us, 1 abstention.
Yep.
Okay, and then regular meeting minutes of July 23rd.
I just have one small correction.
Sure.
Page 2, Town Administrative Report, Administrator's Report, third line toward the end, allowing the paramedics to operate out
Yep.
Yep.
of the firehouse. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve as amended.
So move.
Mark?
I'll second.
Seconded by Kip. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay, agenda review.
So can we
We'll put
take care of the
these,
fire?
these two things
Yeah,
back on, the
yeah.
goals and objectives and the fire alarm ordinance. Mark?
Looking back in some of the earlier meetings, Kate, you said you went to a parking meeting in August?
Yeah, you did say that.
That I went to a party?
No, you
No,
want
you
to have
want to
You
one.
want us to have a parking?
Oh. Huh?
We are the
Thanks for the
parking
reminder.
We are the parking authority, yes.
You know, I've got to go back and look at specifically why I wanted that.
Fine. I don't think it's going to matter greatly whether it's August or September.
Hmm.
And certainly this may be offline, but some of the votes we have coming up, if perhaps we could have a special meeting, since I will be out of the country for the next 2 scheduled Board of Selectmen meetings.
Okay, all right. So is it okay if we reach out to all of you to try and, I'll outreach individually to discuss our executive session issue, and then I'll have Linda send out an inquiry when we might be able to meet in special
Fine.
session on that.
Or
And
if
we-
anyone would consider just moving one of the meetings.
Yeah, that's, well, I think that could be possible, so I have to just revisit your schedule, your vacation schedule.
Yeah, because September gets,
I just meant like this month to the 26th rather than the 19th. What? What? She's looking at me like, no.
That's my
Wait.
birthday.
Oh, mine's the day before. Mine's the 25th. The twinsies almost.
So instead of the 19th.
I think I'm a lot older than you are.
But there's no reason why, if we're changing the meeting, there would be no reason why we couldn't change it to another evening. It could be the 27th
Okay.
instead of Monday, the 26th.
Yes, since I
In
will
honor
be
of Kate's
walking off a
birthday.
plane from,
So, okay, we'll circle back on that.
yeah.
That might make some good sense.
I'm sorry. I was sorting papers and I lost track. What month?
August.
This month. Are you?
I am not available. I have a long scheduled family event
Great.
that
That whole
I
week,
need-
okay.
Need to be at.
Okay,
It involves tickets and reservations. and
nice.
all kinds of-
Tickets.
And,
Okay.
and what about in early September?
Anytime.
In September?
So we have to honor our second meeting in August.
Which, so then I won't be
Okay.
attending.
So, we need to hold a second meeting. So, I'll just need to find out when you're not available and when you are. Okay? All right, we'll work it out.
I intend to be here on the 19th
Okay.
of August.
Okay, and Pam is not.
I fly out on the 16th,
Okay.
and then they haven't booked my flight to Argentina yet, but I think it's like the 6th or the 7th.
it's not gonna do it,
September.
we have to focus on August, though.
I was, besides, the discussions of the false alarm ordinance and the goals and objectives,
Mhm.
I don't think we have anything major lined up.
we need to have another executive session discussion, and then a vote on the police commissioner.
And Jamie, we could do that outside of a Monday evening or a
Yes,
Tuesday
yeah, we
evening.
could,
We could
yes.
do it anytime.
Correct.
Depending on everyone's schedule.
Mhm.
And Pam, you leave on the 16th?
Yeah, my flight's
Okay.
on the 16th to South Africa,
And
and
that's
I'm
a
back on the
Friday?
25th.
Yeah, it's a Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we'll just Linda will reach out to you, and we'll get your day-by-day availability, and we'll go from there.
Okay,
Okay?
yep.
And-
Sorry.
I understand, sometimes we have meetings with fewer than 5, you know.
We
I
do.
think it's more about the
We try really
police
hard not
commission.
to, but.
We can certainly keep our August 19th meeting for this business.
Mhm.
But for the business of seating a police commissioner, I'd like for all of us to be present.
Yes,
Okay? And they
Maybe
might be separate meetings.
Keep in mind, when Linda reaches out to you, if daytime is possible.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, right, if I'm here, I'm
Oh,
here.
yeah.
If I'm in the United States.
well, she'll ask
Okay.
that, I'm sure, but yes.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's tough with vacations.
All right. Very good. Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Pam, may I have a second? Mark, all those in favor? Great, thank you.